All right, everybody, we are back. The IDP Lounge is back for another week. We are without Joey the Tooth, our main captain on this show, but I'm kind of filling in here with Hollywood, and we wish Joey a happy vacation. He's out in the Cape, so he's enjoying it right now. But we're here today, joined by two fellow IDP guys. Jase Abbey and Eric Haroff. How's it going, guys?
Good, good. Good to be joining you. Sorry to hear about Joey. He did send me a photo of his eye earlier on. It didn't look too good. But, yeah, that's good to join you guys.
I forgot about that. I was just saying captain just because that came to my head, but he's literally like one-eyed and peg-legged right now.
Yeah, it didn't look good. It didn't look good. I feel bad for him, but hey, I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yeah. But yeah, so Jace, this is the first time we've had you on this show or really done much live streaming with you. So
Yep.
why don't you introduce yourself a little bit to our audience and you know where you're located. I mean, you got a fancy accent there that people are probably curious about, and what you do for IDP guys.
That's it. Yeah, I'm not sure so about fancy, but I'm based in the UK, as you guys can probably guess. And I've been writing on and off for IDP guys for about what is it, Nate? About 4 years, 3 years. I had a bit of a break there. Come back again this year, helping out on the IDP side. Yeah, I've been a football fan for going on for about 16, 17 years now. Unfortunately, I am a Chargers fan, so I'm used to the pain that all that comes with. But yeah, helping out on the IDP side, helping out with some start-sit articles for this year, and anything else that comes with. So,
Absolutely. So I mean, Chargers, it's not too bad. I mean, you got Justin Herbert right now, Austin Eckler. I mean, you put the things together, and there's a good shot. You got a chance. And
yeah, it's exciting times. We got we've got a decent defense as well. But we've got Patrick Mahomes in the division, so that makes things interesting.
Brian coming in with you got a British accent, so that just makes you more intelligent.
I'm not sure about that either, but yeah, I'll take the compliment. I'll soon prove you wrong, Brian. I'm sure.
And our other guest here, Eric. I mean, you are pretty well a regular over the past few years, coming on the shows that we do, the start-sit shows in the mornings on Sundays. But for those people that maybe haven't seen you yet or don't know too much about your work, give a little introduction and what you're working on right now.
Yeah, so in and out. It's been a busy past year. Now I'm just kind of focusing on more of the scouting aspect of things. Starting to bring that stuff over here to IDP guys, and got the rest of the crew tagging along. You know, Hollywood up there chilling. He's part of it, so it's exciting to get some of that going, and mainly focusing on just college in general. Kind of, I still do IDP rankings over at Dynasty Nerds, but other than that, I'm just mainly focusing on the college game. Excited it's here.
Yeah,
finally.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, some pretty exciting games over the past couple of weeks, and I don't know. I mean, I'm just super excited for tomorrow. Getting a chance to sit back down and veg out in front of the TV for a solid 9 hours. There's nothing better. So
yeah, it's good. It's gonna be good this year. I'm a Panthers fan, so it'll be interesting to finally have McCaffrey back on the field and Darnold at the helm this year. Hopefully, he can get that Jets.
So do
the
you
leftover jet off of him.
Yeah. Do you think that now that he's away from I can't remember the coach's name.
Adam Gase.
Yeah, Adam Gase. Now that he's not under Gase, do you think he opens up? Do you think he starts to develop a little bit for you guys?
I think so. I think so big time with him and with Matt Rule and Joe Brady. I think it's endless for him. He's just got to be able to take that next step forward. And if he really wants to be there, I mean, he can. I think he has the capability to do it. So I'm rooting for him. So
yeah, absolutely. So Hollywood, what's been going on? How's it been the past week? Any updates on anything?
It's busy. All kinds of college games, and now the NFL's starting, and we got the show in the morning, so we'll be starting that back up. So, yeah, got all kinds of articles coming. It's going to be busy for sure.
Yeah, definitely. The site is in full swing. Tons of content coming out. Like up to like 5 articles a day sometimes. Like the staff is just cranking, and tons of great stuff for our subscribers too. So definitely make sure you guys are going over there and checking that out. But yeah, so let's talk our teams a little bit. Let's talk about week 1 and what it means. And so Hollywood, we'll kick it off with you. But Tennessee, Arizona, how do you see this game going? Where's your concerns, and do you think Julio Jones is gonna be Julio of old?
As long as he's healthy, I think he will be. I mean, that's been the biggest concern with him is if he's healthy and how long. So I expect him to do well. Probably the best set of receivers we had maybe ever with him and A.J. Brown. I want to see how Ferkshire does at tight end. Defense, I don't think we can be any worse than we was last year. So, we've completely redone the secondary. You brought in Bud Dupree to help with the pass rush. The linebackers are pretty much the same as last year. So it's going to be a tough one. Somebody asked me to pick the score, and I was like, I don't even know right now because I'm too scared it's going to be a shootout. Because Kyler Murray's he's something special. And then you got Hopkins and those guys down there. I think Connor's going to be a big piece for them running the ball. I think a lot of people's overlooking him. He's going to pound it a lot for them.
Yeah, I've got him in a few spots, a few teams where he was cheap. He was really cheap.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, I'd give it the old college try with him. Do you think so? You also got Chase Edmonds over there. Like, how do you think that split goes?
I want to say it's kind of 50-50, but I don't know because I've not really watched them this preseason. So, this has been a weird preseason. You only got 3 games, so some teams are not showing really what they want to do. And I could see Connor being the short yardage goal line early down back for sure. Because I think that he adds an element, like I said, they've not had in a while where they could just pound it with somebody big like that. But I like Edmonds. I mean, he's more likely going to catch a lot of passes, change it up a little bit for him. He's going to be a problem for our linebackers, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move a little bit, I guess, a little east here at Chargers and Washington. Jase, let's talk it out. What do you think is going to happen in this game? Do you think Herbert's going to get pressured by that amazing Washington line, and do you think he'll be able to come out on top?
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about that Washington defense. They got some special players. We all know Sweat, Young, Payne, Allen. It's going to be a test of fire. I think we've made some big changes on our offensive line over the off season. Obviously, brought in Slater in the draft. We got a couple of new guards, Fido and Ibushi, and picked up Corey Linsley as well. So I'm quite optimistic about improvements on the offense line, but I don't know. I think that defense is going to be a real challenge. Herbert was pretty good under pressure last year, so I'm not sure if he's going to be tested again. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, I'm optimistic. I'd like to think we could win that one, but I think it'll be one in the trenches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now, if I'm correct, Eckler hit the injury report leading up into this week. How is he doing? How is he looking? Do you think he's going to be able? Is he a solid start for fantasy?
Yeah, Eckler's going to be. I think people underrate him this year. He's a really dynamic player. And I've heard some people talk about top 5. I think that is a bit optimistic, but he has the potential in PPR leagues. I think for sure. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I think he returned to practice yesterday, so he should be good to go. Hasn't been given the all clear, but yeah, he should be good to start. If you've got him, he's one of your top backs in your fantasy team, so you need him to go for Sunday.
So now you do the start sit for IDP on the IDP guys, and one of the more murky linebacker situations is actually the Chargers.
Yeah.
Who are you seeing starting, and who do you feel confident if you were to have to play them on your team?
Yeah, again, this one comes up quite a bit. I'm actually not the biggest fan of Kenneth Murray. I think he's going to have a good year. I think he's going to be our only 3-down linebacker. And if you've got him again, he's a definite start for you. But I'm concerned about the long term. I think with Murray, and this won't sit well with a lot of people, because I see a lot of people in the industry all touting him as a huge upside player this year. But I have my reservations. But yeah, he's going to be our only full-time linebacker, I think. We're going to see Tranquil and Kaiser White as well coming in there, but Murray is your starting linebacker for the Chargers, and if he's in your fantasy teams, then yeah, start him too.
Gotcha. Nice. Good stuff. All right, Eric, we got to talk some Jets and Panthers here. Week 1. It's the Sam Darnold, revenge game. So what do you think? Is Darnold going to pull this off? How high is the score going to be for the Panthers if this is the Jets of old?
I think if their offense is clicking, they really kind of showed in the last preseason game, that they started to really click. I'm just curious to see how Darnold's going to do. We saw how he looked in the past couple years, in New York with the mess that they had, and it's a vastly different offense than he was used to. So he's got a much better backfield, much better receivers. Well, one of them is the same receiver, but overall, I think the Carolina's defense has made an improvement over last year with Jeremy Chin, how he came on, Brian Burns just being probably one of the top 10 defensive ends in the league. You got Derek Brown. So it'll be very interesting to see how much pressure they get on Zach Wilson, give their rookie something to run from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm quite excited about Derek. I'm quite excited about Derek Brown this year. I was too low on him until I started looking into things in a bit more detail in the off season, and he played better than I thought he did. And I think one sort of caveat I should use as well when I talk about Murray is that I think a lot of the guys from last year should be given a bit of a pass. I think where they didn't have much chance to prepare. So I think Brown and Murray both fall into that sort of category. But yeah, I do quite like Brown. You've got to be excited about him.
Yeah, looking at the defensive line, you get Yetur Gross-Matos, Brian Burns, Derek Brown. That's pretty scary. Derek Brown could take up a lot of space, and then you got Shaq Thompson, he's moving from middle to, I think he's moving to weak side linebacker. So he's moving on the outside because he was middle last year, and then they got Jermaine Carter, who's got some major kudos from Luke Kuechly. So that's encouraging music. Good to hear. So we'll see what the linebacker core can do, because it's kind of been a revolving door since Kuechly left a couple of years ago, and that one still hurts my heart a little bit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people expected Perriman to appear over there as a starter, but as a former Charger fan, or as a Charger fan, former Perriman, I don't know. I'm not sure about him, to be honest with you. But yeah, I heard good things about Carter.
Yeah, he's in Las Vegas now. I think they I can't remember if they released him or traded him, but he's in Las Vegas now. So
yeah,
that opened the door for Carter to take that middle linebacker position.
What do you make of Carter? I quite like him.
I like him, for what I could watch from him in the preseason. He got, like you see, he got a major kudos from Kuechly, so that's an encouraging sign itself there. I think he has the potential. I don't think he's no Luke Kuechly by any means, but with him and Shaq Thompson, and they can make that defense better than it was last year.
Gotcha.
Now that everybody's got a full year of practice, and like I said, kind of got to give last year a little bit of a bye just because of what went down.
So what do you think this year is going to be like, especially, last year we experienced the whole COVID really cut the beginning of the season short, and a lot of these rookies were rushed in, and I feel like they really didn't get their due, and that's kind of what you guys are saying as well. Do you think that we see more of a standout from more rookies this year as they were able to get integrated in the system better, free agents being able to switch teams and get the playbook quicker and get some preseason games in? What do you think this year is going to be like as a whole?
It's going to be different. It's going to be really different. I think having fans in the stands is, as much as some people don't think it is, it's actually, just look at watching college football these first 3 weeks of the season, how much it's changed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big thing. And I think you will see some of these rookies that kind of underperformed. I think they'll step up. But, you had players like Chase Young who, had a great year. Tristan, all those guys. Burrow, it'd be nice to see Burrow, how he's going to do this year. And, coming off his torn ACL. But it'll be fun to watch these guys.
Yeah, I think, I don't think the rookies played well as a whole last year. There were exceptions to that, but I'd like to think we can see a little bit of a recovery this year from this year's rookies. It'll be more interesting, I think, to see who makes that year 1 to year 2 leap. I've been, with every article I've written, and every conversation I have this sort of, I kind of a little bit of a, as I say, hold something back with regards to the rookies last year, criticizing them too harshly for playing not playing quite as well as we kind of hoped they would. So it'll be interesting who can actually make that leap from year 1 to year 2 this year. I think we'll see. Well, we should see more than usual, but let's wait and see.
Yeah. So Hollywood, you're getting called out by Chris here. Maybe it's because you're not talking so much, and he's saying, who's in the Hollywood Titan box, and what have they done with Daryl? Come on.
Oh, I'm listening. I'm watching the game and listening. I think it's going to be a lot different. I think just the shortening the preseason a game is going to make a major impact, because in years past you've had 4 games for rookies and to get ready and kind of show what they can do, and you've kind of chopped that off now. So now it puts more pressure on them to do it a lot quicker. So I think with 3 preseason games, you'll see more of the pro-ready rookies, who they are, because they're just ready now, so they don't really need that 4th game. The ones that come up with a big play or something in that 4th game, or a fringe player, they don't get that opportunity now, and I think that's going to change the way everything is done. We've already kind of seen it. Some of the veterans are getting cut from when they had the big cut down. They're picking up some of the younger guys. They're going younger instead of older. So I don't know that football will ever be the same after last year. I think it's set up a lot of different things. With the cap dropping down, that was a big thing this year. Next year, I think it's going to be completely different because the cap's going to shoot way back up. So it's just hard to say, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, and then they throw in this extra, we got an extra game this year too,
Yeah.
which is going to affect longevity of players because of, now you've got to make, you got to make it to the end plus, that extra game. But I think that from a stats perspective, I mean, we're going to start, it's like a whole new stat book that has to be opened up for this. But I mean, what do you guys think? Are you excited for this extra game, or are you on the fence?
I love it. It's more football. It's more football that matters. That's more important. We talked about the preseason game being gone. They added it to the regular season, which I think it's going to make more players have some more value, increased value, because they're going to want to have that depth for that extra game. Players are going to get hurt. You know it's going to happen. So they've got to have somebody, got to have that depth build up.
Yep.
I think the big thing is it changed the bye weeks for us in fantasy, because there's 2 bye weeks now?
Nope.
No, 1 bye week. They stretched it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, we're still good on fantasy. You just kind of shift your playoffs 1 week, and everything's pretty much good. So,
did you leave yours the same, or did you extend your season a week? Because I know I've seen that being a big topic.
We extended that a week.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
Everything's been extended.
That's what I did. Just added a week to the regular season.
I think throwing in another bye would probably mess too much up for the NFL to just go and do that. I think by adding the extra game, they kind of put the league on notice to, especially if fantasy football is building up to be this major, industry. And I think a lot of managers are now considering, okay, so what do we do if there's 2 bye weeks? And how do we integrate that into fantasy football? What do you guys think? If that were to happen,
that would be a total mess. That would just be a disaster. We struggle with bye weeks now. Sometimes, you do your draft. I don't look at bye weeks anyway, but now that happens. You're going to look at double the bye week, and that's just don't do that. That's going to cause more problems.
Well, I think if they've kind of hinted at it, if they expand in the future to another game, 18, because that's what they originally want is 18 games. If you're going 18 games, the players union, they're going to come back with, well, we need another bye week. We need a chance to rest a little more, protect ourselves a little bit. So if it ever gets to 18 games, there's going to be 2 bye weeks. So it'll be 20 weeks essentially. Then you're playing.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think that's what the NFL owners and probably the NFL wants, Now the players may not want that, but the NFL's tricky. Every time you give something, you have to take something. You have to give something back. So if they want that 18th game, there's going to be a second bye week. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I heard there was even talk of not necessarily that your team would have a bye, but that players would be on they could only play so many games in the week in the year. Ooh. So like you would have to schedule when your quarterback would have to sit out or your main players, because your team would still play, but they have to the players couldn't all play those games, which would just have been a mess.
That'd be interesting.
Sound like a mess.
Especially the quarterback position. That seems like the worst. But man,
that would be a mess. But it would also, I would have to imagine, it forces them to increase roster size.
Mm-hmm.
Because not a lot of teams carry, a ton at every position to balance it out. So if you're going to do that, you're going to have to give them a few more roster spots to make up for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all right. Let's shift gears here for a minute and talk some rookies. And we got a question here from Malcolm Merriweather. He says, besides Parsons, what other rookie linebacker will have a big impact this year?
You got to look at Collins, I think, first and foremost. He's he's a starter over there. He's slid straight into that spot. They announced it before seemingly before he even got home from the draft. I feel a little bit sorry for Jordan Hicks, the way that went down. That seems a bit unusual to me. He's been a productive vet, but I guess they're just, setting their stall out early. So yeah, I think Collins is in line for a big year. There was that concern with the legal stuff, wasn't there? I think didn't he get pulled over or something for I don't know, it wasn't something serious, I don't think, but
speeding or something, reckless driving.
Yeah,
speeding.
Yeah. Obviously was serious, but not as serious as some other things can be. So, but yeah, I'm expecting big things from him this year. Jock as well. I think he's looking exciting in the preseason. I really like what I see from him, and they're talking about him playing in some nickel formations as well. I think I saw this week, so that could be interesting. He's a favorite of mine. He's just so much fun to watch.
I've always said Parsons he's the front runner for the Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Collins. I've been really high on him, but the more I look at it, the more I kind of watch it and study on it. Jamin Davis, he's going to make a push just because of what he's got around him. That front four, those safeties behind him. He's got good help at linebacker with Holcomb and stuff. So I think it's easy for him to just be him. He doesn't have to do anything extra. He doesn't have to stress and say, I've got to be the man. He can just go in there and play his game. And I think with what he's got around him, I wouldn't be surprised to see him push Parsons for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see it. I know early on he was someone that, was ranked pretty high in the rookie, linebackers. And then like Zaven Collins moved up, JOK moved up. I like all of those guys. I really do like. I'm really coming around on Parsons, especially seeing him on the field in preseason. And I thought he was was slow to start in this game on Thursday, but he still managed to make a pretty good impact. I'm trying to remember what his box score was, but I know he had a couple tackles. Was that him with the interception? I know Brady threw like 4 of them, which was unlike him.
Yeah.
Parsons, he just needs to dial back that aggressive just a tad. Yeah. Because it's got him out of position a time or two with tackles, whatever. But, man, I just think he's going to be something special. I don't think he's going to be up there, I think, pretty soon, real quick, with the Whites and Roquan Smiths and players like that. He's just too talented. You can see it when he's on the field. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And go ahead, Jase.
I was just going to say it's interesting what they did with the linebackers, isn't it? I think a couple of slack fantasy owners might have been a bit burnt with the Jalen Smith LVE situation there, but they've been kind of hinting at this for the whole of the preseason. So. Keanu Neal coming in there and taking the majority of those snaps there. No, he wasn't. Oh, I know he wasn't massively productive, but if he gets that many snaps compared to LVE and Smith on an ongoing basis, then have to wait and
see.
Not
what we thought at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, not what a lot of people expected. I know there's people knew that Parsons and Keanu Neal was going to come in and make a big impact, but not to the point to where it was like a 75-25 rotation for them over LVE and Smith. At least not early on. I know when the depth charts come out, you could start to see it, and then training camp you could see it a little bit, but still it's kind of shocking because fantasy managers, I'm sure there's a ton of people got LVE and Jalen Smith on their rosters, and now they're kind of like, what the hell? What am I supposed to do here?
Yep. As I was writing the start sits, I was it pained me a little bit to say sit Smith, sit LVE. It just feels a little wrong, but this is the nature of the game, isn't it? Things move fast. Yeah. We can't get too enamored with players for too long because it's a brutal game, isn't it? It's over fast.
Yeah. I started kind of souring on him myself a little last year. I think LVE was because with the neck injuries and stuff, and I was like, I don't know if that's gonna just be a fluke thing because he had the issue coming out of Boise too. So I was like, it's reared its head again. So I kind of started sliding him down, and then Smith, I was just a good linebacker, but not elite by any means. And where you're drafting him or what you have to pay for him in trades, I just didn't see the value there or the return. So I started kind of dropping him down my ranks anyway, and I think Kyle has too a little bit. So
yeah, that's interesting because after like last year, I mean, I really thought that like we've been talking a lot about LTE kind of sliding down the rankings and possibly replaced and everything, but I thought Jalen Smith was going to be the one that was pretty solid in his job security and everything. But then when they brought in Parsons and then started talking about Neal moving up to linebacker, it's just like I actually went in all my Smith shares. I pulled and benched him, and happy I did because he only got like 2 tackles, I think, and wasn't on the field long.
Yeah, it seems that's the way it's going to be. I mean, there was I think there was a part of the fantasy community, the IDP community, that didn't entirely trust that Neal was going to be a linebacker and was going to play over, Smith and LVE. But here we are.
Yeah,
it's happening in meaningful games now. We've got to believe it.
Yeah, that's the key. You can see all kinds of stuff that happened in training camp and preseason, but when the games actually hit and you start seeing it, that's when you gotta, okay, this is happening, this is real. So
that's when it starts to matter.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of that game on Thursday overall? Cowboys, Bucks. I thought that they did a good job at pressuring Brady, which was something they were trying to do going into it, and they almost pulled it off. They almost pulled off that win, which there were a lot of people shoveling dirt on them for going into that. So what do you guys think?
That was awesome, wasn't it?
It was a good game, but that was definitely a pass interference at the end. Just want to say that. I mean, it was a good game. It was a good opener. It wasn't a blowout, so that's good. But yeah, overall, I think it was just a good game. It was good to see football, but yeah, I think it was pass interference at the end, which kind of ruins it for like really all that for that little tack. But it is what it is. That's how it goes. So, but other than that, overall, I think it was awesome. It's good.
Did you guys do anything special for the first day of football?
No, I worked. So time I got home and showered and ate and got ready, it was game time. So I just sat down and watched it. So
no, not for me. No, it was mentioned earlier. It was my birthday on Thursday, so it was like the perfect birthday. My wife came home from being on holiday for being back to see her parents in Ireland for 2 weeks, so that was cool. And then I got to watch football again after 214-day wait. So that was the best birthday present it could have been. So I had a great time. It started at about 20 past midnight here. So it was a late one, but it was well worth it.
Yeah, I bet. Oh man. Yeah, I went out to the local bar and a local wings place and had pumpkin beer and had friends, at the table with me, and we got rowdy and it was fun. It was a good time. Definitely rang in the new season. One of my buddies, he's like a very A-type personality. He went up to anyone with a jersey on and just started talking football to him. And I'm just like, dude, he's not even drunk. He's just that kind of guy. He's going up to Cowboys fans like, oh man, I'm so sorry. Like, some guy was in a Nick Foles jersey and he just had a blast with that guy.
Wow.
It was fun. But no, it was
dedication right there.
Yeah, because of COVID, the bar closed early, but they didn't kick us out for those that were watching the game. So we stayed there all the way up until the very end, and the game kept us into it all the way up to the end. So it was awesome.
Yeah, it was a great game to watch. For the neutral, or for Bucks fans.
True.
Yeah, I had to work as well, so it was just another It would have been different if it was different teams that were playing too, but it was still good. It was still good to watch football. Back on, meaning something now. So
Yeah.
So now, do you guys have a routine or a ritual for Sundays? Do you like only watch your team, or are you watching Red Zone and sitting there for 9 hours? You have any special like multiple TVs, anything like that going on?
It's straight Titans when they're on. I don't pay attention to them, unless it's a commercial I'll flip over, or usually I've got it in a split screen so I can kind of keep an eye, but it's straight Titans whenever they're on, and then after that I'm just all over the place. So
yeah, for me it's rare that the Panthers are on TV here. It's always Broncos are always on here. So
you should move down here. You get to see them a lot down here.
I could. But yeah, it's if they're on TV though, then I will definitely keep an eye, and I'll watch the game. I'll record it too, just in case I miss something. But for the most part, I flip back and forth. The games that are on.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, I used to record a ton, but since we, as everybody knows, cut the cord with cable because it was just outrageous. So I've got the Fire Stick, but I haven't quite figured out how to record from that yet. So, because it's what do you call it, like a jailbroke Fire Stick. So I get every single game, college, any sporting event, any pay-per-view, whatever. So I've got to figure out how to try to record from that so I can watch more games. But
good thing there's only 4 people right now listening and broadcasting. Someone's going to turn you in. But no, it's good stuff. What about you, Jase?
Yeah, I'm the same as Titan. If the Chargers are on, then I'm not watching anything else. But if they're not, then I'm all over the place. I'm in the zone though. I just as soon as the games come on. Again, I got a meeting friends tomorrow as a bit of a delayed birthday celebration, but even that they know 6 p.m. 6 p.m. cut off. Yeah, I'm somewhere else. I'm doing something else. So yeah. It's very much built into my schedule and all that I do.
So that's got to be a whole interesting thing to it as well, because the games, I mean, for us, I would say Eric probably wakes up and the games are going, or getting pretty close to it. Whereas like for me, it's early afternoon, the 1 o'clocks. So it starts at 6 for you. So you've gone the whole day and,
yeah, well, until the daylight saving times, it's 5 o'clock for now. But yeah, usually it's 6 o'clock, and then the second schedule of games usually comes on at 9, obviously, and then we've got then we're into the late games, which kind of dictate how my Monday's going to go. If I watch those late games, yeah, I always said to my boss, don't expect too much productivity from me on a Monday, especially a Monday morning, and it's much the same on a Tuesday. This is how it is. It's fine.
Yeah.
So because games start usually about 11 out here, so it's nice. It's late morning, and
attaboy, Sean.
Good to be ready for that. So, but I have to ask Jase a question. Do you guys have a team that's usually on every week? Is there a certain team, or do they just like cycle it, or how does it work for you guys over there?
I usually watch Game Pass. In fact, I always watch Game Pass, so I have my pick of the teams. Okay. I used to watch it on Sky, where they have 2 featured games. You'd have the red button. They have 2 alternate games on as well. Mm-hmm. And the Chargers would never be on because the Chargers, or maybe that was just my perception of it. But there'd always be. We went through a phase of just the Saints. I remember loads of Saints games for a while. Maybe it was not long after the Super Bowl. I don't know. It's quite a few Patriots games. I used to watch football here back in the 90s. That gives away how old I am. But I used to watch it back in the 90s, and they used to have some football on in those days. But in those days, it was just the teams that you'd imagine sort of in that era. So the Cowboys, the Giants, that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of them featured over here as well. But yeah, on Game Pass, I get to watch who I want really. So nice. like Nate says, if it's not Chargers, sometimes Red Zone, and then go back and watch the games again the next day or the next evening. So yeah, I get to have my pick, which is great.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, and being international, like we don't get to use Game Pass in the same way. Like
Yeah.
I've got it, and it's all for the US. It's after the games are done, so you don't
Right.
get to watch anything until it's done on Game Pass. So that's got to be pretty nice, because out here we deal with blackouts, and depending on like your location and stuff, like I don't really get to see the Lions that much, except for with Game Pass, like after the game's over, after I already know how badly they lost
Yeah.
and who got injured. So
That's harsh. I can't imagine that. That'd be really difficult. You guys get it lucky in terms of get lucky. It's your sport in terms of the times of these things. But yeah, I guess not being able to watch your team every week must be real difficult. But yeah, I'm fortunate in that sense, and yeah, just trying to keep up with what's going on in the fantasy game while I'm watching the games as well is always kind of cool. So yeah.
yeah, oh definitely. I mean, I guess I'm also a little privileged, I would say, with my setup. When I first got introduced to football, it was going over to John's friend, John and my mutual friend, and it was multiple TVs all set up. And these were back when it was like tube TV, not tube, but like, you know, the big heavy
Right.
TVs, not flat screens. He'd have his, nice flat screen, but then it was two like junk massive TVs that were just sitting in the living room, and he just kept them there like year round. Whether or not there was football, you just walk in a March day, and he's got 3 TVs, and you'd be like, why do you have these? But it was for football Sundays, and so I got introduced to it with Red Zone on, and then the 2 local games, and I've kept that to the point where I've in the past had up to like 5 or 6 TVs going at once. And then now I think tomorrow I'll have 3 TVs going.
Yeah.
2 flat screens on tripods, and then my big flat screen. There you go. Picture in picture. That's a good way.
Yeah. That's kind of what I use now with the Fire Stick. Got a pretty good size TV, 50 inches. So with the Fire Stick, they've got an option. I can do single, doubles, or I can go do a quad box. So I can kind of pick who I want to watch, what's going on. So that's kind of, I'm with Sean. That's kind of where I go now.
Yeah, I used to do something similar on Game Pass. I used to have the four-way split screen, just the audio in the live panel. That was kind of cool. But I think, I don't know, it's pretty much Red Zone now, isn't it? If the Chargers aren't on, kind of just enjoy the night. I try to enjoy the night really, because you guys probably find the same thing. You kind of watch a game in a different way when you are writing about it or analyzing it a bit, and sometimes it's nice just to be able to just sit there and enjoy the games. So if the Chargers aren't on, I just sit there usually with Red Zone and enjoy the games, and then go back and watch them properly at a later point. How do you guys do that? Do you get a chance to just sit back and just enjoy it, take it in as a fan?
Yeah, for the most part, it'll be a little different this year, since I'm really not going to be, as far as I know yet anyway, going to be writing more, on the NFL side of things. It'll be more college stuff, so it'll be a little bit different this year. I'm trying not looking at my fantasy scores, and see how that goes until like Sunday night, Monday. We'll see how that goes. That might change, but it's going to be different this year. We'll just sit back and enjoy the games.
Are you guys able to? I don't know. With Red Zone, to me, it flips around a little bit too much. Like, I do enjoy that it's always action, and I enjoy having it up, but I also really like just watching a game, like a single game, and just focusing on that and seeing, the in-between plays, the plays that gets them into the red zone. Because sometimes I feel like with Red Zone, it's just like, okay, we're going to flip over here. It's one play into the end zone. Celebration, let's move on. And then it's one play into the end zone. Sometimes it gets a little repetitive, especially after however many years it is now that I've been watching football and doing that. It's like, I like seeing the defensive plays. I like seeing the drama of a 3rd and long where they've got to throw it, and they've got to throw it, and the quarterback just dials up a shot play, and it's like, oh my God, they got, the 10, 15 yards plus they got an extra, 10 on it, and the guy caught it and ran for a little bit. I mean, last night with there were a couple of CD Lamb plays that were really exciting, and Amari Cooper, of course, just went off. That wasn't last night, that was 2 nights ago, but or today's Saturday. I forget my days sometimes. I work from home.
Yeah, if you'll notice on the red zone, it seems to kind of slow down in the afternoon session, like at 4 o'clock. Because I'm with you. I think they do, especially that 1 o'clock window. They're just constantly just jumping. And I'm with you on that. Yeah. So it does slow down because I think there's not as many games in that late window. So they've got a little more time to let it play out a little bit. So.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, it can be can jump around a little bit, but I'm one of those people that tries to. I'm obsessive about my fantasy team as the games are on, and I need to be keeping track of everything that's going on the offensive side as well as the defensive side as well, I guess. But I love to just be live and current and seeing the plays develop. As if someone's just scored me 12 points, I want to see it happen in the moment. So that's kind of most of the reason why I watch Red Zone. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It can take away a little bit something from the game that you get to see if you to watch it in full. But I get that too. I go back and watch them in full at a later point. Too many games, to be honest with you. But
yeah, absolutely. So here we go. Hollywood pulled up. What's your take on JOK? And yeah, we covered it a little bit, but if you guys want to go back into what do you think about him and the Browns? I feel like this could be a good year for them.
Yes. Yeah. I think it has a lot to do with their past and now. Years past, it seems like they've always been trying to push up the hill. After last year, it kind of feels like they're starting to cross the hump now. So it's with players and coaches, and it's like it's all kind of coming together. So I think he's going to be a good piece for them. I think he's going to be on the field a lot more than they expected this year, because I just have no belief in Clowney, and they've suffered some injuries. So I think they're going to need him a lot faster than maybe they expected. And I thought he would be on the field quite a bit for them as a rookie. So I'm even going to bump that up because I think he's going to be a key piece for them.
Yeah, and the positions he plays, he can play safety, he can play linebacker. And at those positions, they're not really set. I mean, they have guys there, but there's no one player outside of obviously Myles Garrett and Clowney, I mean, he's going to start opposite, but that are really going to say, yeah, he's not going to get on the field. I mean, where they got him, it was a steal. I'm shocked he fell that far to begin with.
Yeah. Didn't he have like a little health issue, heart issue or something that kind of kicked him down around, or am I thinking of somebody else? There was something medically, I think, with him that everybody kind of pumped the brakes on him that caused him to fall a little bit, I think.
Yeah. For me, it was the size. I don't know. Just that he just wasn't a sort of prototypical. Well, I suppose he is now, modern day. Right. Linebacker size. Just quite light, isn't he? I think I wrote an article a couple of weeks back that said that he was at one point he was a pound heavier than Nico Collins, the Texans wide receiver, which I don't know, just puts into perspective that he's quite a light guy, but he's so fast, he's so explosive, which must be nice for Browns fans to see, because they haven't always had that. You saw it in that first preseason game. He was just everywhere. I think he came on, I think it was midway through the second quarter, don't quote me on that, and he just had a bunch of tackles, like 7-8 tackles, a sack. He wasn't perfect. He makes mistakes every now and again, but he's so exciting. I think Walker will be the every down linebacker over there. But Yeah, they're one of the teams that play at least 2 linebackers on the majority of plays. They did last year at least. I can't remember what the numbers were, but it was something in the high 90s in terms of how many linebackers they had on the field. At least 2 on 95% of plays, 99% of plays. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see Jock play. I think I've got him in quite a lot of fantasy spots. I'm kind of tempering expectations a little bit, but sort of tier 2 for week 1. I don't know. Just wait and see.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Tier 2 is fair.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
I was
Jase.
just going to say, I guess it depends on what your definition of tier 2 is. I was looking through, as I say, I was doing the start sit, and assuming that most teams have somewhere around about 12 teams per fantasy league. So I don't know. I have them in that sort of 12 to 24 spot for week 1. But yeah, as I say, tempering expectations a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be sack dependent with him too. I think it's not like he's going to be like the big 3 that we discussed, which Malcolm also asked, our big 3 rookies. I think it's Collins, Parsons, and Jamin Davis are your big 3. So I wouldn't put him in that tier with them. I think he's below them by quite a margin, just in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That's pretty much how it's kind of been consensus over since really the beginning of all this draft process is
right.
JOK has really fallen. He hasn't really fallen down, but he's behind Parsons and Davis and Collins in terms of rookie linebackers. He's definitely a piece that you want. I think he can really evolve into something.
Mm-hmm. So, Jase, you said that you've got him in your 12 to 24 kind of spot. What side of that is he closest to? Is he closer to the 12 or closer to the 24?
Yeah, he's number 23 for week 1 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, and just going back to that last point, I'm a big Davis fan, and I've got him everywhere. But I'm unsure about week 1 with Davis, to be honest with you. I'm saying wait and see a lot tonight, but it's very much the case in week 1 with rookies, and you'll see it from the Start Sit article. I've recommended for quite a lot of rookies that I know are going to be good this year, that you don't necessarily trust them for week 1 until we see them play a lot, because we've been here before. We all talk up the rookies over the preseason, and we all get excited about watching them play. But chances are most people have got a more assured veteran to play in week 1. I'd rather miss on a good week of a rookie than to suffer a really poor score, knowing that I've got a more trusty veteran on my team. So I'm unsure about Davis for week 1, but I could be very wrong on that point. Jock, I'm more confident in week 1. Over the course of a season, I think Davis is going to be, a force. He's every bit a modern linebacker, isn't he? He's just seems to have all the traits you want and the opportunity, most importantly. So, yeah.
You got to be patient with rookies. I've been guilty of it myself. I want that instant return, high impact. You just got to be patient, because sometimes it's a big adjustment going from college to the pros, and it's same from high school to college. This is a big jump from college to the pros. So you're not always the best player on the team. You've got to find your way, and you got to learn the system and all that. I will say last year and this year's rookies, these 2 classes IDP wise, I think is going to be really special in the next few years. We're going to look back at this year and last year, and we're going to say, damn, we were spoiled with those 2 classes. Overall as a whole, I know there's going to be some big players like Thibodeau and stuff coming in the future, but overall as a whole, there's going to be some nice pieces out of these 2 classes.
Yep, I agree with you there. I was just going to mention the draft classes upcoming years. It's not going to be a star-studded. There's a few, Kyle Hamilton, Kayvon Thibodeau, and those type of guys. But outside of that, there's not really. There's a bigger tier space in between this upcoming one than these last two. These last two have been amazing.
Yeah, they're spoiling us for these last two. That's for sure. I mean, it's.
But to feedback on your be patient on rookies, look at Isaiah Simmons last year. It's because you have high draft capital doesn't mean you're going to get that playing time right out the bat.
Right.
Yeah. No, it definitely. So, do you think that now? I feel personally, and I'm not a scout for the college or anything, but I feel like every year they say around this time the coming draft class is just not as good, and then we get there, and you still have like a decent amount of solid players that come out. Do you think that there's a lot of landing spot that goes into whether a player comes out and becomes like decent? What would you say to the guys, the Jamin Davis, JOK, Zaven Collins, Micah Parsons this time last year? Were you thinking the same thing? Did the landing spot really kind of like help push them up your rankings? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
A little bit. I mean, as far as Parsons, to me, it didn't matter. Mm-hmm. I could care less where he landed. Really didn't matter if they play him as a DN, edge, outside linebacker, however you want to describe it. To me, and he can play inside because I've watched him his whole career at Penn State, and he did all that. He started out in high school as a defensive end, then went to Penn State, played some more of the inside stuff, played outside for them. So he was clearly just the best player in this draft. I think he's still heads and shoulders above everybody else in this class. So player like that, to me, I think it's going to be the same with Thibodeau. Kyle Hamilton, both of those are going to be up next year. Players like that, I don't think it matters really at all. I mean, I'm sure it helps, if you don't have a lot of competition in front of you or whatever. But I think Collins landing in Arizona, there was some question marks with Hicks and Simmons there, but we quickly saw that they thought a lot about Collins because they tried to move Hicks. Jamin Davis, I think he kind of fell into the perfect spot. As I mentioned earlier, that defensive line, those two safeties behind him, with what Washington had tried the previous years at linebacker, and it hasn't quite panned out. It does matter, and I do look at that stuff, and I think, for me, it does affect my rankings some. If Jamin Davis went to, help me, somebody that's stacked at linebacker.
Cowboys.
Well, yeah, the Cowboys. Yeah. I don't know that he would be the same as Parsons. Parsons is special. And I like Davis. Mm-hmm. I think Davis, I would have had to drop down at least till I seen what was going on in Dallas if he's there. Places like that, Tampa Bay would have been another one. If he'd have landed in Tampa, that would have probably dropped him because they've got Devin White and Levante David. Mm-hmm. Because he's going to have to wait his turn, more or less, unless they move him outside, and he's not an outside guy, really. So, yeah, those things I do consider them. I mean, it just depends on, for me, a player-by-player basis, kind of. Well, sorry, I got long-winded.
I think at the beginning of the draft process, after the 2019 draft ended, Davis and Collins really weren't household names, so to speak. Mm-hmm. They kind of came on as the season went, Right. So that's really where their draft stock shot up, and then continuous good games, and I mean that obviously with a good showing and Senior Bowl and workouts and all that stuff, you can go from a third round pick to a first round pick in a hurry. We've seen it years past, and we'll continue to see it.
Like one that Nate will know, Derek Barnes from Purdue. Mm-hmm. I liked him coming out of Purdue. Played with his hand in the dirt. He's played in both schemes, hand in the dirt, standing up. So he goes to Detroit, and as we know, they don't have a whole lot there. So for me, I think that did bump him up a little, my rankings for sure. Ernest Jones is another one that's kind of moved up for me for the Rams. So yeah, I mean those things do. I do consider them quite a bit.
struggle with Ernest Jones. I struggle to place him this year. What do you guys make of him? I have my reservations about some of his abilities.
Yeah.
I should say, but
I think he's more of a 2-down guy.
Yeah.
Thumper type, but there's a role for that, I think if you're putting him in coverage a lot, then there's going to be some issues there. But I kind of equate him to like a Josie Jewell. A 2-down thumper, he's going to light it up for you. Now, he's not horrible in coverage. I just think he needs, more experience, more coaching, but I think that's where his liability is. For me, anyway.
I was looking at the Rams inside linebacker situation, and one thing that jumped out to me was literally every other inside linebacker is out of contract after this season. Yep. So I know it's a bit of a muddled situation over there, isn't it? With Young and Reader, Howard, and so on and so forth. But literally all of them are out of contract after this year. So kind of opens the door a little bit for Jones.
Yep.
Or at least at this point.
Yeah, and I think that's you kind of mentioned it. You kind of got to look ahead. You're looking ahead. This time next year, it's going to be a different room entirely. So the opportunities there. That's why I've got guys like Barnes, Ernest Jones. I've got them everywhere on my taxi squads, benches, because I know what's coming. Well, I don't know, but that's what I'm expecting, looking forward in the future. So I'm kind of staying a step ahead of myself if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, speaking of Derek Barnes, and I've heard this way too much, but so what do you think of the Lions' chances against the 49ers? How bad of a blowout? Yeah. No,
some answers you just don't want to know, Nate.
Yeah, do you really want to know that answer?
I'm going to be a Rams fan for this
season. Do I need
to
check on you tomorrow after this game?
No. I'm looking forward to a high draft pick and potentially a new franchise quarterback.
Malik Willis.
Sean was saying something about some guy out of Liberty that
Malik Willis.
Yep.
Yeah, and then that he had a bad game week 1, or something. I don't know. Did
Sam
you
Howell
see that game?
Sam Howell had the bad game week 1.
Okay,
that was North Carolina. Yep. Malik Willis had a pretty good week. He had a pretty good week this week too.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I mean it's weird the transition away from a quarterback that's been with your team for, that's 2009. Gosh. So the 10 years. Just I don't know.
You got to be happy for Stafford though. At least he gets a shot to try to win a championship. No shot at your Lions. Yeah.
This is big shot at the Lions. Big shot at the Lions there, Hollywood. I love that.
Well, we've never been able to put it together. We've never been able to put a team together the way that the Rams are right now. I mean, even take out Cam Akers going down and that kind of stuff, which was a major hit. And I didn't like seeing because I was excited to see what Stafford could do with good, decent receivers and a good running game. Now I don't know what Darrell Henderson. I would assume that's still going to be, 75 to 80% maybe. But then you've got that defense, and the biggest downfall of the Lions has always been their defense because Stafford, he can throw and he can get the points, but the defense just kept the other team coming back. And so maybe, this could be different with the Rams.
Right.
Yeah, they were amazing defense last year. So, yeah, like you say, it could be very different over there for him.
Yeah. Is Joey going to call you tomorrow and give you a hard time?
Probably. I'm sure. Yeah. He'll probably he's probably going to be sending me a text from the beach in Cape Cod with his feet in the sand going, "Oh yeah, we just beat you guys."
Double insult right there.
Yeah.
But if by chance this miracle happens, how great are you going to feel to be able to text him while he's got his feet in the sand and say, "Hey, buddy, sorry to shit on that vacation, but guess what?
Get yourself on some solid ground."
That's right. Nate's thinking right now what that would be like. I can see it in his eyes. His wheels are turning. He's like, "Oh my God, what if they did win? What would I do?"
I don't know. I don't know how I would feel, mainly because I don't believe that they could put it together to make a run and get into the playoffs if they were to somehow be able to string together some wins.
Right.
At the most, we'll be playing for middle of the pack draft spot, and that's just I'd rather see them get blown out by the 49ers.
Y'all had a pretty good draft this year, though. I like the two young guys up front, Aleem McNeil and Levi Ozarinke. Those two are going to be that's going to be good pieces for y'all on your defense. Plus Barnes, I like it.
Yeah, going forward, having a couple first round picks isn't bad.
Right.
So
what we're talking about the Lions. What do you guys think about Romeo Okwara? Since he's going to might be transitioning to outside linebacker.
I think it kind of hurts his fantasy value with that change.
Yep.
Not a whole lot. I'm not saying he's going to drop 50 spots, but I think for fantasy purposes, I think that's something that you have to factor in. If you're playing him as a linebacker, then it definitely drops his value a little bit. If you can play him as a D lineman, then I don't think there's much of a change. Not for me anyway.
Yeah, I was just going through my lineups, and I just happened to click on his name, and I saw that he was starting to play outside linebacker. So I was like, okay, interesting.
Did he have like 10 sacks last year?
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that's – if you're a fantasy manager, that's what you're looking at. You need him to have those 10 sacks to be – I don't want to say relevant, but to be an impact. Anything less than that with the position change, I think it hurts him a little bit. But other than that, I think he's still the same.
Yep, that's kind of how I feel.
So Jason here brings up a solid point. He says Joey might be okay with a week 1 loss. Have to think that would expedite the Lance crack in the lineup.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it definitely would be like Jimmy G would have to look really bad.
Yep.
Jimmy G would have to look worse than Jared Goff for the Lions to win tomorrow.
I don't think that's possible. I'm just saying. Sorry, Nate.
Can't get cracked to the face. I mean, he might look a little bit more homely.
Yeah, I'm all for Trey Lance starting.
I'm curious to what the odds are now for the win probability for the Lions now.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody happen to know that? Because I got to imagine it's a super long shot right now.
I do not know. I did put some bets on today, but I don't know what the
yeah, I did too. Well, I think Nate's looking at that.
Yeah.
We got a question, though. How do we see KJ Wright and Dendell Perryman doing for the Raiders? If you've followed IDP Nation with me and Kyle, we've been kind of wondering this the whole time. We've got a lot of questions from people, and I'm like, KJ Wright's going to sign somewhere. He's too good not to. Just pump the brakes. He's going to sign somewhere, and in Vegas, I think he's like a perfect fit for the Raiders. I think way he plays, his style of play, they definitely need him. So, yeah, I think he's a great fantasy option for them, actually. I mean, I think it helped him going there.
Yeah, so I found that it's an 8.5 point spread. But get this, the over-under is only 46 points. So essentially, the 49ers are going to just have a blowout, and the Lions are going to get like no scores.
So it's going to be like 42-3, 45 points. I could see that.
Good. Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible.
That's more possible than the Lions actually winning. Just let me tell you. Sorry, Nate.
Sorry, Nate.
It's fine. I mean, it is what it is. I want a high draft pick, so I'm rooting against them, and I'm watching the Rams this year. That is how it's going. But Calvin brings up a interesting question here, asking if I'm starting Swift tomorrow.
Yeah,
And
are you?
yeah, I think that offense is gonna go through Hawkinson and Swift for the most part, and those two guys are really the relevant ones that matter to me. Deep, I want Amon Ra and Quintus Cephas. If I get two of those, either of those guys on my and this is obviously dynasty. If I get either of those guys on my bench or taxi squad, like I'm pretty happy to hold on to them.
Yeah, I picked up Amon Ra. I was going to ask you about him today. I would have forgotten, actually, so I'm glad you brought him up. But what do you make of him, Nate?
So I believe Rashad Perryman got cut because of him.
Awesome.
Because of how he's shown up and what he's doing. They're looking at him and saying, okay, we need to find a spot to get him going. And I think that Terrell Williams is going to still be that, length of the field number one. I don't know if he's going to get the fantasy points of a number one wide receiver, but he's definitely going to be the guy trying to stretch the field. If there was someone else throwing the ball, other than Jared Goff, I might be a little more interested. But I don't think Goff is going to be able to throw that ball far enough for him to, be the number one that he's aimed to be. But Amon Ra is going to be a solid mid, kind of that Golden Tate role, and he's good at going up and pointing the ball. Yeah, Calvin. I believe he's the one that wrote up did the write up on Amon Ra for the magazine, and yeah, no, it was. He's been a guy that I've been paying attention to, and he's shown up in the preseason. So yeah, Rashad Perriman probably lost his job because of him.
Cool. I've got him stashed in a few places, so I like that.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on Jamal Williams' role impact?
So I think Jamal Williams is going to take 50% of the rushing snaps, but I think that Swift is going to be able to make up for that in PPR leagues with his pass catching abilities.
I think you just made a lot of fantasy managers happy because there's a lot of people got Jamal Williams and will be using him at a pretty good clip in fantasy league. So if that's he's getting 50% of the carries, that's huge,
Yeah,
I know where fantasy managers out there or fantasy leagues that award extra points for amazing press conferences. Then Jamal Williams is a top 10 back.
Yeah, I know everywhere I have Swift. I do have Williams as well, just as a safety net.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting seeing how they utilize him. But from what I understand, the way the coaches talk about Swift is, he's the guy, and Williams is there to kind of spell him, possibly on pass protection as well. I believe Williams is a bigger dude than Swift. But I think they're also I'm trying to remember they were talking about having both of them in so that they didn't have to take Swift off the field. Because the Lions were notorious a couple years ago for you could tell when a running play was going to happen because they put in their running back or they took them out. They could just get to stacking the box. So they stack the box on Swift and then they throw it to Hawkinson. I think that it's going to be them focusing on Hawkinson, and then you're going to get a bunch of 3 and outs because I don't think that they're the rushing is going to be better, and I think they're going to try and push the offense through that. I just don't. I mean, you're not going to have a good attack on offense if you're slated to lose every game. So, these are the guys that are going to be fantasy relevant, and they're going to get the points. It doesn't mean that they're going to win the games or, get as many touchdowns. So, but it's still the NFL. There's still going to be touchdowns. There's still going to be passes. So, that's kind of the way I see it. It's, other teams will be able to figure them out. But I think that they've got these two players at least have the shot. But with that, I know that Eric's got to go here shortly, so we might as well wrap up. It's been a good hour and 15 and lots of good conversation and talk here, and very happy to have you guys on as guests. But I'm getting antsy. It's like Christmas Eve here. Football starts tomorrow, and I think I want to get like a couple games of Madden in tonight before I go to bed, and just
he's going to be like this little kid at Christmas. I'm going to be over here asleep in the morning, and he's going to be ringing my phone off the hook at 7 o'clock saying, "Hey, we got a Sunday morning show." And I'm like, dude, just go back to bed and let me sleep in a little bit, okay?
Yeah. And so for everyone out there watching, make sure you tune back in the morning. We'll be doing start-sit questions. You'll be able to answer get your questions answered, and we'll be going over the news as it happens. And we go from 11 till noon every Sunday. But with that, let's go around the room here real quick and just reiterate like where people can find you, what you're going to be doing this year, and go with that. Go for it, Jase.
Yep. So as I mentioned at the start of the show, I'm going to be doing the weekly start and sit for the IDP side. So that's going to be published, I think, every Thursday. I'll tweet a bit about that as well, especially for the Thursday night games. And I'll try and keep that updated with injuries as we go. Updated the Thursday posts just earlier today. So I'll try and keep that updated, but as I've mentioned in the article, please do keep on top of the injury updates in the build-up to games and check just before games in case I have missed or just haven't caught the latest on that. So yeah, weekly start sits. I'll be doing other articles as well. I've got some projections that I've just about finished as well. So you might see some of those coming out, and I'm also helping out with the data side at IDP guys. So helping out with some mock drafts as we build towards sort of updating ADP on a regular basis on the site too.
Yeah, awesome. Go for it, Eric.
So yeah, you can find my IDP rankings over at Dynasty Nerds, and then pretty much I'll be focusing on scouting for this year, and starting to drop scouting reports. And I know Daryl and myself are starting to do college game recaps. We each dropped one last week, and working on the Ohio State Oregon one here. So hopefully that one's out here this week sometime. So other than that, that's really about it.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, great having you all on, and look forward to the show next week and tomorrow watching some football, talking to you, Hollywood, at bright in the morning. I'll have my coffee in hand, and we'll answer some questions here. So
I'm gonna have to drink like 3 energy drinks for you in the morning. I just don't know if I can handle you tomorrow or not.
Oh, it's gonna be amazing.
Okay,
guys. All right, everyone out there, have a good night, and we got football in the morning.
It's here. It's finally here.